Gujarat Titans versus Mumbai Indians set up to be a really good match because it just had a bit of everything in it. The rivalry between the two teams, the emotions of the fans in the stadium was something ecstatic. Then there were the two new captains of the franchises, and you would want to see how they would do with their decisions. And then it's the first game of the season, and as usual, Mumbai managed to lose the first game for the 12th time in a row, which is surprising because they were in a winning position and still somehow managed to fluff it. So, I mean, they're champion side, but the inexperience somehow bottled it for them. But before we get into that, let's go back to the start of the match when Mumbai Indians won the toss, decided to bowl first, and the first thing Hardik Pandya decides to do as captain is bowl with the new ball. I mean, how can you even think of bowling with the new ball when you have the likes of Jasprit Bumrah in your ranks? I mean, he's one of the best bowlers in the world by far, and you decide to open with yourself. I mean, it's respectable because he's leading from the front or whatever. Maybe he has the inside scoop on the two batsmen because he was playing for them last year, but it's a no brainer. It's the easiest decision in the world to just give the ball to Bumrah, and he still somehow managed to mess that up. So he bowls his first ball, right? But he immediately gets slapped through backward point for four. And then he's not really holding a line in length. He's pretty wayward. He puts one on the hips that also goes for four and eventually leaks 11 runs to begin with, which is not a good start. So for the second over, he decides to bring Luke Wood on, who's an English player, I believe, a left arm speedy customer. He wasn't giving a lot of room for the batsman to free his arms. So he did pretty well, just giving 6 runs in his over. And I don't understand why Hardik didn't give him another over in the power play because he did pretty well. And the only other time he brought him back was in the 18th where he got smacked for loads of runs by Tewatia. But that's another matter in itself. So another poor choice in Hardik's captaincy. And then he decided to bowl the third over after going for 11 runs in his first. I mean, how do you have the guts when you have Bumrah in your team, man? Like, come on, keep your ego aside and just give Bumrah the ball. He would have done so much better. And it showed because he came in the fourth over, bowled three fabulous dot balls, and then he bowled this brilliant slow ball, which completely deceived Ridhman Saha, but somehow it still managed to go for four because he just went through with the shot. And just following that delivery, he bowls an absolute gem of a Yorker, cartwheeling the middle stump. That is just beautiful. That is peak Jasprit Bumrah. So Bumrah comes in the fourth over, delivers for his captain. So with Riddhiman Saha getting out, in came Sai Sudarshan, who got off to a pretty slow start. I mean, he only got 7 runs in his first 9 balls, and that put a bit of pressure on Shubman Gill. He felt like he had to take a risk, and eventually he tried hitting one down the ground against Piyush Chawla, but just ended up holding off to long on. So he departed for a well-made 31 of 22 balls. But now Gujarat Titans were in a bit of a hole. So in came Azmatullah Omarzai, who was the replacement for Hardik Pandya. He's meant to come in the middle order, score a few runs, and then bowl with the new ball, and he did exactly that this game. These two put on a decent partnership, and it was a good left-hand, right-hand combination that was helping to negate the spinners. But eventually, Gerald Coetzee gets introduced into the attack, and with his very first over, he picks up the wicket of Azmatullah Omarzai, who tries to launch one over deep square leg, but his bat swing ends up being more vertical than flatter, so he just skies it in the air. So at this point, Gujarat Titans were 104 for 3 in their 12 overs, which is a really good base. So they were launching for somewhere around 180, but then the partnership between Sai Sudarshan and a David Miller was just so slow. They just got about 31 runs in their 30 balls that they played together. And then eventually, Jasprit Bumrah comes in and dismisses David Miller, bowling a beautiful slow ball, completely deceiving him, and he just skies one to long off. And in the very same over, Sai Sudarshan just mistimes one off his hips, straight to square leg, and so Bumrah gets two crucial wickets at the right time. And now Gujarat Titans are in a bit of a hole because now it's a circumstance of them just getting to about 150-ish. So now with 3 overs remaining, in comes Rahul Tewatia and Vijay Shankar. Most of the damage being done by Rahul Tewatia because he takes to Luke Wood really well. He just plays around with him. He hit a huge 6 over the bowler's head, and then he ends up bowling a short ball twice and ends up lapping him in the same area over third man. So that was just some amazing craft work by him. But eventually, he also does get dismissed by Bumrah. So after that, Gujarat Titans just stumble their way to about 168 in their 20 overs. So now it's upon Mumbai to chase down that 169. So from Mumbai's side of things, it was obvious that Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan were going to open the batting. But it was kind of a surprise to see Azmatullah Omarzai open the bowling when I thought Umesh Yadav was a better contender. But I guess he's filling in that role of Hardik Pandya, which he used to do in the last few seasons of opening with the new ball. So he actually has immediate impact where he's swinging the ball away. And as Ishan Kishan normally does, he has that huge weakness against the swinging ball, and he ends up nicking one straight to the keeper, going for a duck of 4 balls. And the fans are wondering, what is he doing with that 15 crore? I mean, the management showed ultimate faith in him. They kept their word when they said that they would buy him back in the auction, and they paid a huge sum of 15 crores and 45 crores in 3 seasons, and I don't think he has even repaid them in the slightest. So he's been a huge disappointment for them. But after that, in comes Namandir as actually not an impact player, but more of a pinch hitter. I mean, and he actually does really well. He gets 20 runs of 10 balls, hits a few boundaries and sixes, but eventually gets out to a ball that stays low and hits his pads. So he gets out LBW, and Omarzai gets 2 wickets early on. So he's finding it pretty good in the IPL so far. So while all of this was happening, there was also a Rohit Sharma at the other end who was going guns blazing. And you have to feel sorry for Umesh Yadav because he did have his number of his very first ball when he inside edged it to Ridhaman Saha, and he just wasn't able to hold on. But after that, he made them pay, and he ended up scoring 41 runs of 29 balls in a good partnership with Deval Brevis when he ended up leaving. But the good thing to see was that he played all the shots, whether it was the sweep, the reverse sweep, he stepped down the ground, took it over long gone, even the pull shot, that's his signature. So that was just great to watch. So during this phase of play that Mumbai Indians were looking to cruise to that total of 169, there was one bowler besides Rashid Khan who was applying a lot of pressure on the batsman, and that was a Sai Kishore. He's a tall left-arm spinner, so all he has to do is hit that line and length perfectly, and he troubled the batsman a lot, and eventually get Rohit Sharma out on 41 of 29 balls. LBW just playing a horrible sweep shot. So this was a huge point in the game because in came Tilak Varma. Now there were two inexperienced batsmen at the crease. So at one point, Mumbai Indians need 48 runs of 36 balls, which is a complete joke in the modern day and age of batting, right? It's so easily gettable. But they somehow managed to mess it up because there was still 2 overs of Rashid Khan and Mohit Sharma remaining, and they just bowled beautifully. Rashid Khan just gave 5 runs in his first over. Mohit Sharma followed up the next one, giving just 4 runs and a wicket of Deval Brevis, which he just somehow managed to juggle. I still just don't understand that. It was just like a magical moment. Like everything just fell into place. So now, by the time Deval Brevis is leaving the crease, they've only scored 22 runs in the last 22 balls. So now the equation is completely changed. And then Rashid Khan came back for the 17th, gave away only 3 runs. And an important talking point in that phase was that Tilak Varma refused to give the single to Tim David, who was at the non-striker's end. And he's a finisher, right? So if you're not giving the finisher any strike, then what's the point of even having him in your team? In the very next over, Mohit Sharma comes back, bowls a beautiful bouncer to Tim David, who ends up just miscuing it to short mid-wicket. But David Miller's on the boundary line, so he has to run in, makes a fantastic catch, and therefore Tim David ends up leaving at 11 runs of 10 balls. I don't know how these guys have managed to mess it up this badly because, I mean, during that phase of play when Tim David and Tilak Varma were playing, I just don't understand why they didn't focus on strike rotation because they just kept trying to hit the glory shot and it just didn't work out, and now they are in a diabolical situation because now they need 27 runs in the last 2 overs, and that's pretty tough even for the likes of a Hardik Pandya coming in. But that also begs the question as to why Hardik Pandya is batting so low down the order. A lot of people were hating on him for the fact that he decided to bring himself at number 7. So some people are saying that he's hiding himself batting at number 7, but there's always two sides to the argument, right? I kind of feel bad for him because there's also a thought that he was promoting the other guys up the order to let them have their moment. Maybe even Hardik Pandya thought the game was comfortably in his hands or like in their hands that he didn't have to even bat. So like the other guys can finish it off, but they somehow made a meal of it, and the blame is fallen on his shoulders. So I kind of feel bad for him. There's also a case where Hardik Pandya promoted himself up the order, and imagine he got out earlier on, then people would be at his throat saying that How can you go ahead of the likes of Tilak Varma and Tim David? They've been batting there for the last few years. How can you do that? So yeah, there's always a few arguments in any situation. So just be a bit more chill with him, you know. I mean, I feel bad enough for the guy already because he had a pretty bad day in the field, considering the crowd was on him at every point in the game. Anytime the ball went to him in the field, the crowd would start booing, the slurs would start. And you know, they truly showed so much emotion today, and that's exciting to see in the IPL because it almost reminds me of football leagues and how their system works. Not their system, but the fans, the emotion of the fans truly comes out. They truly felt betrayed by Hardik Pandya leaving the franchise where he won them a title and where he's truly from the same state, right? So they were they were done with him at this point, and I can just imagine how much hatred he's gonna get at the Wankhede crowd. Because, oh my god, all those Rohit Sharma fans, it's gonna be a massacre. So, coming back to it, Mumbai Indians need 27 runs of the last 12 balls, and the man given the responsibility of the 19th over is Spencer Johnson, who earlier in his debut IPL over went for 17 runs. So, it was not looking good for the fans of Gujarat Titans, but it looked even worse considering the fact that the first ball of the 19th was dispatched by Tilak Varma over deep long on for a six. I mean, that was pretty much the nail in the coffin, you know. All the crowd went extremely silent, you know. But what does Tilak Varma do on the second ball of the over? I mean, he hits it straight to deep square leg and gets out. I mean, that was a crucial moment in the game because now a new batsman comes onto the crease, and it's Gerald Coetzee, who has a bit of batting potential, but he's mostly a bowler, you know. And that ball was a juicy ball on his path. It was in the slot. It was there to be dispatched for a six, but he just hit it straight to deep square leg. So that was a huge mistake by Tilak Varma. And now Hardik Pandya still at the non-striker's end, you know. And then there was Gerald Coetzee who hogged the strike, 1 run of 3 balls. So now Hardik Pandya is in a situation where he needs 17 runs in the last over. My bad. They needed 19 runs of the last over, which is really difficult, right? But the man who was bowling that over was Umesh Yadav, so the hope is still alive. I mean, Umesh Yadav is famous for being a horrible death over, especially at the time that he played for RCB and even at Kolkata. So there was always a chance, and if there was any moment Hardik Pandya wanted to be like MS Dhoni, which he's been saying that he's wanting to, this was that moment because Dhoni has absolutely torn apart Umesh Yadav in the death. I mean, he started off pretty well, right? Because Umesh Yadav bowled a bouncer, which Hardik Pandya slapped over deep cover for six, and then followed up with another boundary. So the equation suddenly became 9 of 4 balls, which is very gettable. But then Umesh Yadav had the last laugh, where he ends up just queuing one to long on, another bouncer, and just that was basically the end of Mumbai Indians because I mean, Piyush Chawla tried at the end, but he just got caught on the boundaries. So Mumbai Indians lost by 6 runs, and Gujarat Titans are all smiles and laughs because they just prove that they have not been winning titles and games because of Hardik Pandya's captaincy, but rather the team combination and the spirit that they have. So Gujarat Titans end up winning their first game in the season under a new captain in Shubman Gill, who's had a great start to his captaincy career, and Ashish Nehra is just saying, "Ha, we didn't need you anyways, bro. So it's okay. You can leave us. We just don't need you." And the fans are ecstatic. They're as happy as they can be because the worst thing in that situation would have been that Hardik Pandya finished the game for Mumbai in front of that crowd and completely silenced them. But, you know, Hardik's going to get a lot of hate now. I'm not sure how he's ever going to be able to like fix it, you know, because these are Indian fans that are yelling at him, you know. These are Indian fans. So is that going to like carry on in the World Cup? I'm not sure. So Hardik Pandya is going to be the blame for this loss, unfortunately, by most of the fans because they like to make him the villain, you know. But I think when it comes to the batting side of things, the true villain of this game was Deval Brevis and Tilak Varma. Their partnership was just way too slow. I mean, if you look at their strike rates at the end, it's only about 120 and 130, and that's not good enough, you know. When you're chasing down 170-ish, you need at least a strike rate of about 140 to cut even. So that's where they lost the game. I mean, Hardik Pandya tried his best at the end, but I mean, how much is he meant to do, you know? I mean, one key point that you can truly criticize him is that he didn't bowl Bumrah with the new ball. That was a glaring mistake, right? He could have been the first change himself, but this time he decided to open the new ball. And I don't know if Bumrah bowled with the new ball, then they might not even have gone to 168. They could have faltered at 140, 150. You never know. So that's one blunder that you can really criticize. But when it comes to the batting order, I don't really think there's room for criticism because there's always two sides of the coin, right? I'm sure Hardik Pandya is going to take a lot of learnings from this game and he will fix them next time around. Otherwise, the Mumbai crowd is going to dig into him really deep. So, I mean, it's a loss for Mumbai Indians as usual. Gujarat Titans are off to a winning start yet again. So, they're on course for a good win, or for a good season rather, under Shubman Gill. So, that's it from me. This rant is over. I'll see you next time.